Narc, and, well, with Battleground and Monday Night Raw in the last couple of days, it looks like the Smarks have won. WWE is clearly caving in and catering to all their demands. And I have to say, I'm not surprised. I saw this coming months ago, which is among the reasons I started this whole new persona of mine, to get my feelings really known. Is it going to work? I'll get into that in just a moment, but for now, I want to briefly talk about the main event at Battleground and Dean Ambrose retaining the WWE Championship. I think that's a good move. I think that it's a move I clearly thought was going to happen because I see that WWE wants to keep the main championship for now. What is the WWE World Championship? They want to keep that on SmackDown to try and help boost ratings for that show. I think it's a good move. I think it's going to help the ratings in the short, at least in the short term, and help while at the same time finding out if Dean Ambrose really can carry this company. But for now, I think that's the best thing they could do at this point. Now, I'm not totally in favor of creating this WWE Universal Championship for Monday Night Raw. I thought it would be better off to have all of the championships declared non-exclusive. That I thought you should be able to have people being able to fight for championships on multiple shows. That would have increased the whole competition angle that they're supposedly going for. But no, at least I'm going to assume for now they're not going to be bringing back that big gold belt. I got my issues with that. I might talk about that in a later show. But now we have to talk about the biggest issue I had, what the subject of this review, of this video, was going to be even before Battleground took place. And that is it really a good idea for WWE to be catering to the IWC? This is something that, despite what a lot of people want to believe, I think they've really been doing this for a long time. It's just been a slow, gradual process. Roman Reigns notwithstanding. Everyone hates the fact that, they were trying to sell Roman Reigns as the champion, but outside of that, they were constantly building up and doing everything that the IWC wants. And yes, I'm here to say, I'm not so sure that's a good idea. Now, I'll grant you this. It's probably the best thing WWE can do at this exact moment, because they haven't found the next John Cena transcendent superstar yet, but they have to keep trying to find him. For now, this is probably what they're doing is probably the best they can do, but is it going to help boost their ratings and get back to the popularity they once had? I don't think it's going to work. And I think there's a lot of decisions they've been making that don't make a lot of sense to me. I'm going to give you some examples here. The opening match at Battleground last Sunday, the tag team match, Charlotte and Dana Brooke against Sasha Banks and her mystery partner, and to the surprise of no one, the mystery partner was Bayley, the sensation from NXT. I don't get why Bayley would want to team up with Sasha Banks. From a storyline perspective, it doesn't make sense. It was only a year ago that those two were in an incredibly heated feud with each other over the NXT Women's Championship, and Sasha Banks as a character was saying some of the cruelest, most mean-spirited the worst things possible about Bayley as a person. And now a year later, they're best of buds? I mean, what the hell? And no, it was just a one-time affair. I personally think that when Bayley finally makes her jump to WWE full-time, she should go to SmackDown, because that show is in desperate need of extra women's talent. Becky Lynch is basically on her own there. And by the way, on the same token, I think Becky Lynch losing at Battleground was a load of crap. I don't see how that works in advancing a storyline by having the bully Natalya not only win, but win cleanly. And I am hoping against hope that this isn't going to lead to a Becky Lynch heel turn in the future, because that would be even dumber. It was dumb when they did it in NXT. I'll get to that in a moment, hopefully. But then there's the other big thing that I want to talk about that was showed at Battleground. Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. This to me is a clear example of how catering to the Smarks, I think, doesn't work. This feud has been building all the way back in their NXT days. It was built up from the knowledge that these two had been best of friends all the way back in their indie days, and then Kevin Owens double crosses Zayn in NXT immediately after Zayn wins the NXT Championship. Eventually, Owens takes that title from Zayn. Months later, after Owens has been in WWE for a few months and Zayn has recovered from his injury, Zayn makes the jump into WWE, and immediately his first gimmick is getting revenge on Kevin Owens. I want to give you a comparison here. When WWE did the feud between Triple H and Shawn Michaels back around 2002 to 04, that was predicated on so many people who'd watched WWE for years knowing that those two had been best of friends in WWE. That their friendship had been a selling point for many years. And that's why Triple H turning on Michaels in 2002 had such gravity to it. It was such a shocker because we knew these guys had been friends for so long. The vast majority of people who watch WWE, Raw and SmackDown, they don't know about Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens' longtime friendship because they don't follow the indie circuits. They probably don't even, majority of them might not have even watched NXT. So when Zayn immediately comes into WWE and says he wants to get Kevin Owens because he betrayed their friendship, we don't know the magnitude of how much that supposedly means. It's not enough of a selling point because we don't know how good their friendship was unless we watched them in indie circuits, which the vast majority of WWE fans didn't do. And they've been nothing but this feud in the months ever since. That the feud started back in February, and now that it's supposedly over, to be perfectly honest, I don't know where Sami Zayn's gonna go after this. They don't have another selling point for him because so far he hasn't been a standout character. There's nothing really appealing to him other than, oh, he puts on great fake fights. And yeah, I'm going to say fake fights. You're going to hear me say those words probably more often than you're going to hear me say piss off the Smarks. And yeah, I think it's going to upset someone, and I want to upset people. But outside of their ability to perform in the ring, there's no reason people would want to watch characters like Sami Zayn because they're not characters. They're not doing anything to put them over the top and be compelling individuals. And that goes into another wrestler who's, I don't think has that great a character, and I have to question, and that's what happened last night on Raw with Finn Balor. For those who want to win now, Finn Balor is the number one contender, one of the two people who is going to challenge, the other being Seth Rollins, who's going to fight for the new WWE Universal Championship at SummerSlam. Now, I've already heard people say that probably the reason he got the nod is because Roman Reigns is in the doghouse because of his suspension. That may very well be true. But, so what happened is, Balor, last night was, I believe, his first ever action in WWE. He gets put into one of the two Fatal 4-Way matches, wins his match, and then shockingly, to the surprise of a lot of people, beats Roman Reigns in the main event to get the spot to face Seth Rollins. But the problem is, again, Finn Balor doesn't have a character personality. At least he didn't in that show. It was just him walking out in tights and a leather jacket. I mean, I'm hearing supposedly he'll bring back the whole demon persona when he faces Seth Rollins at SummerSlam, but for him to just be a normal guy on Raw and then supposedly have this persona, this demon persona, which really doesn't amount to much other than just coming out in huge teeth demon makeup, I just don't see that as being a good selling character. None of these guys are over the top as far as their personalities go, and that's what WWE needs more than anything. And yeah, that's the kind of stuff that the IWC doesn't like. The IWC really only represents a very, very small percentage of the people who've watched WWE over the years. And these are the people that think that all you have to sell wrestlers on is their ability to wrestle. But that's never worked. You look back at all the history of the past 30 years of wrestling. When WWE has been at its height, it's been when it sold characters and story over wrestling. And any promotion that tried to compete with them by just selling wrestling failed at doing so. But it looks like this is the way WWE is going to go for now. And of course, all the Smarks are celebrating this, but you know what? I think you're going to tune in the next few weeks and you're going to find out it's not boosting the ratings. I don't think it is. I mean, Dean Ambrose has been champion for more than a month so far, and last I checked, could be wrong about this, but last I checked, ratings for Monday Night Raw are still in the the low twos, the 2.2, 2.3 range, 2.1. And I don't think this direction that they're going by just selling wrestlers and their ability to put on fake fights is going to double those ratings and put them back at where they were during the heyday of the Ruthless Aggression era. Because they don't have characters that appeal to the mainstream. I guess we're just only gonna have to find out in the weeks to come as to which side is right. And I'll have more opinions on this in future episodes. You're gonna see me hopefully every week now doing something else that's gonna piss off the Smarks because I'm the Wrestling Mark.